Nick, are you able to top that? What was your craziest kind of media meltdown?
I think back to the meltdown over Jimmy Kimmel and his brief suspension from the Late Show. You know, he made some inaccurate comments after the shooting of Charlie Kirk, but the breathless mainstream media and Hollywood freakout was proclaiming, an end to free speech and, as an example of, President Trump's, fascist takeover of America. But it's a tough look for the liberal resistance movement when Trump, the president of the United States, arguably the most powerful person in the world, can't even keep a comedian he likes off the air for a little bit more than a week. So, just an excellent example of the rhetoric of the left not matching up to the reality of the moment.
Let's just take a listen to Jimmy Kimmel.
I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way.
Nick, he is such a liar. I mean, it's so infuriating just listening to him. And, it's actually come out today that new polling shows only 24% of voters actually know that Charlie Kirk's alleged killer was a radical leftist. And it's because of people like Jimmy Kimmel that were deliberately lying, saying that it was a MAGA person. I mean, it was just absurd. And then the fake tears and refusing to apologise to Charlie Kirk's family was just awful. Esther, while we're looking back at the year that was, winner or loser? Do you have any winner or loser for the year?
I would say definitely the winner is the ghost of Jeffrey Epstein, the most infamous sexual offender the world has ever known, because he managed to stay in the headlines longer being dead than when he was alive and abusing scores of women. And he was a headache to not only the Republicans, but I suspect the Democrats, if the Democrats would decide to actually be fair-handed about this and acknowledge that there were quite a few powerful men within their own ranks that were sashaying on Epstein Island. So yeah, that's definitely a winner, I would say.
And Nick, what about you? Winner or loser?
I think a big loser this year has been Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate Democrats. He came into the year trying to balance the anger of his progressive base with the job of actually legislating and leading the country. And for years and years, this is someone who's insisted that shutting down the government is irresponsible. But as soon as he felt the heat from his liberal base, he led Democrats into the longest shutdown in history, while simultaneously refusing and infuriating liberals in his own state by refusing to endorse progressive darling Zohran Mamdani. In the end, he looked incredibly foolish. The shutdown went on for 42 days, and Democrats within his own party broke from his leadership and voted with Republicans to reopen the government. So not only did he go through the heartburn of shutting down the government, he got nothing in return and really had egg on his face coming out of that process. And I'm sure he's feeling the heat from within his own party as they enter what is going to be a really difficult cycle for Democrats to pick up seats in the Senate.
Absolutely. Esther, I know you cover the royals for us as well, so I have to get your thoughts on Meghan Markle's new Netflix Christmas special. It's been torn apart by critics. Some have given it a 0 or even 1 star, calling it quite mad and a little bit sad. Does not surprise me one bit. Can I get your thoughts?
It was like a form of Chinese torture. And I say this as someone who's painstakingly watched everything she's put out, because this is what I do for you, fellow viewers. But I cannot overstate how devoid she is of a personality. All her guests which she seems to be really friendly with, are just people that are trotted on, apparently are close friends, but she doesn't know anything about them. She doesn't explain anything, which as someone who loves cooking and lifestyle stuff, I find very frustrating. She doesn't explain the flavor profile of a lot of the ingredients she uses. And she's always kind of like, oh yeah, I just threw this together. But it's also like, okay, but can you explain it? But I think the one shining light in this latest Christmas special is that Prince Harry managed to chew through his leash just in time to make an appearance, and actually said something witty about an anti-salad which featured beetroot and anchovies, which I have to agree with him on this occasion. But it's it's just very unentertaining. It's very bland. The episodes are too long. The music, I mean, honestly, whoever put together the score really has a vendetta against Meghan Markle. I'm convinced, like a drunk DJ at a wedding, and it's just unwatchable. And I have a feeling that Netflix are definitely not going to renew this after this sorry attempt to make Meghan Markle a Martha Stewart.
Yeah, I think a lot of people hate watching that program if they're watching it at all. Esther Kraku and Nick Weinstein, thank you so much for joining us.